S. E. Hinton, the trailblazer of young adult fiction. One Life and Family. Susan Eloise Hinton was born on July 22, 1948, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood, she was an avid reader from an early age. However, she often found herself disappointed with the books available for young readers. She felt that most young adult novels lacked realism, which inspired her to write stories that more accurately reflected the experiences of teenagers. Hinton attended Will Rogers High School in Tulsa, where she began writing The Outsiders during her teenage years. The novel was primarily influenced by the social divisions and gang conflicts she observed at her school. After graduating, she attended the University of Tulsa, where she earned a degree in education. Despite her success as a writer, she maintained a relatively private life, preferring to stay out of the public eye. In 1970, Hinton married David Inhofe, a software engineer, and they had a son, Nick Inhofe. Though she continued to write, she also focused on her family life, balancing her career with motherhood. Hinton still resides in Tulsa, where she leads a quiet and private life away from the limelight. 2 main works. Hinton is best known for her debut novel, The Outsiders, 1967, which revolutionized young adult fiction. The novel follows Ponyboy Curtis and his struggles with class conflict, family dynamics, and identity. Its realistic portrayal of teenage life resonated with readers and became a staple in school curriculums across the United States. Following the success of The Outsiders, Hinton wrote several other novels that continued to explore themes of identity, belonging, and youth struggles. That Was Then, This Is Now, 1971, a story about 2 foster brothers whose lives take different paths, ultimately leading to heartbreak and betrayal. Rumble Fish, 1975, a novel about a troubled teenager, Rusty James, who struggles to find meaning in his life while idolizing his older brother, Motorcycle Boy. Tex, 1979, a coming-of-age novel about 2 brothers left to fend for themselves after their father abandons them. Taming the Star Runner, 1988, a novel that follows a rebellious teenager, Travis, who is sent to live with his uncle on a horse ranch, where he learns important life lessons. 3. Anecdotes and Controversies. One of the most interesting aspects of Hinton's career is that she wrote The Outsiders when she was only 16 years old. She was still in high school when she began drafting the novel, which she completed at the age of 17. The book was published when she was 18, making her one of the youngest best-selling authors in history. Another well-known anecdote is that Hinton used only her initials, S.E., instead of her full name to publish The Outsiders because her publisher feared that a novel written by a young woman about gang violence and teenage boys would not be taken seriously. This decision ultimately helped her book gain a wider audience, as many readers initially assumed the author was male. Hinton was deeply involved in the film adaptations of her novels. In the early 1980s, when Francis Ford Coppola adapted The Outsiders and Rumble Fish into movies, Hinton worked closely with the director and even made a cameo appearance in both films. She developed friendships with many of the young actors, including Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, and Rob Lowe, all of whom were relatively unknown at the time, but later became major Hollywood stars. Despite her widespread success, Hinton has faced some controversies over the years. One of the main criticisms of The Outsiders and her other books is their depiction of violence and gang life. Some schools and parents have challenged the inclusion of The Outsiders in school curricula, arguing that its themes of gang fights, underage drinking, and delinquency are inappropriate for young readers. However, many educators and literary scholars argue that the novel's realism and emotional depth make it an essential piece of young adult literature. Another controversy emerged in recent years when Hinton responded to criticisms about the lack of diversity in her books. Some readers have pointed out that her novels primarily focus on white, working-class teenagers and do not significantly represent people of color. Hinton defended her work by explaining that she wrote from her own experiences and perspective, emphasizing that she never intended to exclude any group. However, the discussion about representation in literature remains a topic of debate. For conclusion, S.E. Hinton is a pioneering figure in young adult literature whose impact on the genre is undeniable. The Outsiders remains a classic that continues to resonate with generations of readers, and her other works further cement her legacy as a storyteller of youth struggles and identity. Although she has faced some controversies, her contributions to literature have been widely celebrated. Hinton's ability to capture the raw emotions and realities of teenage life has made her one of the most influential authors in American literature. Her books have stood the test of time, continuing to inspire readers and writers alike.